soaks up the punches, even helps his team like with the cannon barrages against a player like Wunderwear, who's been honestly weak so far. So we may actually see the angered Cabochard come out here and just completely smash his lane, like, my time to shine, my time to carry, and Selfie in a more lane, wave clear oriented role, because he was struggling when we were re-watching some VODs, but struggling with moving into the side lanes and pushing out far enough. So H2K love playing a style where they set up their side lanes to push to let them make pressure, which is great League of Legends. But last week, we saw them hesitating on that a lot, and they stopped pushing a wave too early because it exposes you, and you need to have the game sense to know when to do that, when not to do that. And it seems Selfie was very afraid of pushing out those waves.
Yeah, we could see a more aggressive Odoamne in this one. It's kind of like Homer Simpson when he tried to become a boxer and took all the hits, but maybe now he'll turn around and swing at Wunderwear. We'll see. As Kalista, LeBlanc, and Gangplank all taken away out of the top lane, so is Lissandra and Lulu, with Alistair being the final ban.
I mean, Corki Flex here could be an option here for H2K. They no longer risk losing the strongest support to Splyce here on the Alistar. Vander's played it well for support champions. Selfie may not play Corki mid though, because that's why last week I believe they either picked for Forgiven or didn't pick it at all, but I believe there was an option last week for Selfie to play Corki mid, and he opted against it, picked a different matchup.
Lissandra and Jace,
yeah,
he decided to go for.
Anyways, it's picked up, it's locked in.
It is, and we'll see where it goes to. Very good chance it goes on to Forgiven. We saw a lot of games from him that were very successful early on into the split. I'm waiting for the first two picks from Splyce. Very quick for the lock-ins. Graves and Poppy brought out here, so two flexes there, but most likely to Poppy in the top lane.
Yeah, Poppy top is something we've seen a lot in different regions. Not as high priority here in Europe, but if you look over at some of the Chinese teams in the LPL, you know, the Xiaogu Reapers, their top laner V plays it, from SKT Duke plays it, but if you want to watch a great Poppy play, Royal Never Give Up, Looper, fantastic Poppy player overall, so definitely watch that, especially the series from week 2 and 3, some really nice Poppy play there, especially if you look at the way the ultimate has evolved. At the start, people were not sure how to use it, and they use it as a disengage tool, but more right now, Poppy top laners use it as a combo tool. You know, they dash in, knock him up, slow him, move in front of them, then knock them into a wall, and just so much percent damage from Poppy.
I also like the fact that we're seeing Poppy's like charge up the ultimate, run at someone like a siege situation, and then
put it back in the pocket.
Yeah,
like,
because you get the cooldown reduction back, it's great, but you just don't know when she's going to bring down the hammer, so you just have to run away. So very cool with the changes that people have been making as Poppy has been played more and more. Lucian and Tahm Kench are being picked up. What's that, Krepo? What do you want to say?
What should be locked into support right now after we have our rant on Poppy top lane? It should actually do fine into the Kench. Percent damage against a super tank. You do get the risk of being eaten, but a fierce warrior like Poppy should not care.
No, she'll fight her way out from the inside, so she'll be good to go.
Kind of like the AQ40 Satoon boss fight. You end up in the belly, destroy them from the inside. Anyways, Lucian, Tahm, Kench, the two strongest AD carries picked up on the side of H2K, except for Kalista, who is banned. Splyce has control over that Graves, can still play a Graves in the top lane to shove, you know, have a disengaged support and go on more skirmish type of poke, blue S type of build. A lot of options here, multiple flex positions, so we can't ever be sure until we reach the last rotation.
For sure. I actually like Graves a lot into Tahm Kench if they do that, because what's Tahm Kench going to do against a hard push early game against Graves? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I love it actually. It's a really, really good matchup for the Graves. Just continuously pushes in the wave and then either looks for a dive or rotates away and puts some pressure somewhere else.
Yeah, never going to get in range to lick him either. Waiting on those final two pickups. It's going to be in the hands of Forgiven Gree and Vander. It's a wrong day for them. They might just pick something else that they want their other laners to run. Because the Lucian has been picked up. Usually I'd be saying it could go into AD carry, but we've seen it top lane today, so I'm going to be holding off on that one. So, okay. Whoa.
Okay, that removes the double flex. Morgana technically is a double flex because we've seen it from Flandre over in the LPL. He's played Morgana top, but this time not coming out. So it's going to be the Janna Lucian lane in the bottom lane, most likely, unless Selfie has, you know, found a little bit of a taste for Lucian mid. Hey man, I would have put it against him, you know, after Lucian top today, everything is possible. But yeah, Lucian, Janna, that screams like a Forgiven lane. A lane where he can aggressively dash in for trades, use his abilities to maximize damage potential with an enabling support. That is, yeah, right down Forgiven's alley. So we need to see what the answer will be here from Splyce.
He can actually be greedy, because when he was playing the Caitlyn, 1 point in traps, and maxing out the E, I believe he didn't even go for traps.
No, he doesn't skill traps.
4.
He doesn't believe it. I asked him about it, and he is so adamant about not believing in the traps and how useless they are, it's actually fun.
Yeah.
Arguing with Forgiven about certain natures of the bot lane or your opinion on how to control a lane, he is very adamant in his points, and it's quite hard to convince him.
Hey, it worked though. He absolutely is destroyed in that game. Destroys in most games, dies very little. Hard to criticize a guy who does so well in those performances. And it will indeed be the Corki in the mid lane for Selfie. So a lot more on his back this week, because last time he was more of a band-aid. And even though that, you know, Ryu losing a lot in terms of like shot calling, and usually band-aids don't fix bullet holes, but in that case it worked.
Nice. Anyways, Bard is locked in 2 here for Nisbeth. I want to see what they can do, because if you play into a double AD composition, obviously, if you can get to the AD carries and kill them, the fight is pretty much won. So with Bard ultimate, that is definitely possible. Spooky into ult, into Q with the setup. Any of the follow-up here. Just imagine a world where
Right, I'm imagining.
H2K is sieging, and out of the blue, Bard portals in to get in range for his ultimate. Throws it on the enemy team, hits both AD carries. Poppy then moves in, presses Steadfast Presence. Suddenly, in this world, also the AD carry is no longer at flash.
Okay.
So the gap closers are being cancelled by Steadfast Presence. Splyce, they win the game. H2K goes down. That is what I want to see here. Bard combos.
I'll be honest, that sounds more like a dream than a different world. But yeah, we'll see if it works. And we'll see what you think on Twitter as well. If you agree with Krepo and the dream is real, hashtag SPYWin or H2K win. Maybe they can get into the ranks. The spies from Splyce. I mean, ultimately,
I always read that hashtag, Team Splyce.
Yeah, Team Splyce. I mean, ultimately, if you do control the Splyce, you do control the universe. So we'll see if they can bring that one home. We're about to get into game very shortly. You may have seen a head move very briefly on the caster desk.
Yep. We are in fact live.
Game. Here we go.
Rerun.
No, it might be a rerun though if you're watching from the future. This is 2016, and Splyce is going up against H2K, heading out of their base into the jungle.
Yeah,
And,
let's see.
Yeah,
what
pretty
they want.
much basic setups right here from both teams in terms of the starting items. Hunter's Talisman is really good. I originally didn't like it because I liked the faster clear from Machete, but growing to like it as you basically get out of the jungle with full health and full mana without even having to use or refillable potion from Trashy or Jankos. So actually really nice for follow-up ganks in the next coming minutes.
Yeah, when the first gank speed doesn't really matter that much. You just want to get sustained through the jungle. It's definitely the better choice. Looking at these bot lanes, there could be merit in swapping for either team because they get ahead of the play. There's definitely merit in just letting Poppy scale and get to the later points of that matchup. Level 6, Poppy should be able to beat Odoamne here 1v1. He gets the help from the jungle. Kobbe and Nisbeth, I really hope they go to stop the camp. Bard has the strongest level 1 trade out of any support, because 3 spell thieves procs plus the empowered auto attack, the first one. So auto Q procs all 3 of them. There's a tremendous amount of damage. And Bard gets absolutely no value from hitting level 2. Yeah, you get health and sustain, but why would you need that if you're already winning the trades? You know, and you can get that later on. There's no time sensitivity to the health pack, so it may actually be wise to give full experience to Ezreal over, for example. Janna is the same, but to a lesser degree. She at least gets Tornado level 2 for actually combat stats.
You may have thought you were tuning into the European LCS, but you are in fact tuning into Krepo Talks Bard.
Hey man, fantastic pick. Nisbeth, hand over that experience. Don't take it. It's a complete waste. Doesn't. Amateur.
Well, he goes for the Thunderlords as well.
It has to. It's all about the burst.
All about the burst as he heads into the bottom lane. I want to see that come into action. And Forgiven Vander now coming up there into the bottom lane. I want to see how this bot lane does, because copying Nisbeth into Forgiven Vander is a tall task.
Yeah, look like Bar level 2 right now because they picked up the champs. What's he gonna do? Like, they're not even afraid of him. They're trading into him.
He missed the Q.
Yeah, that generally helps.
That wasn't a cosmic binding, more of a comic binding from Nisbeth there.
This is actually not the NALCS. It's still the USCS. Anyways, I don't think we'll see too much action. This lane, the nature of this lane is very whittled down. So trades like this, where Forgiven gets a shield, goes in, auto attack trades, and whoever's ahead of the trade can just like continue trading and whacking away. Very slow and steady, very little hard CC. The only thing that can turn it around is a cosmic binding that basically gets aimed at a creep. But Forgiven is very annoying to play against. He's very aware of skill shots coming his way, so I think we should start looking at some of the other lanes and the junglers more likely.
I think so too, Krepo. Well, they're basically mirroring each other as they started both in the top sides of the map, so they may meet each other in mid lane or bot lane. Speaking of that mid lane, though, Sencux lands the charm onto Selfie. And Sencux, we were speaking so much about him being the key player in this matchup. If he can start snowballing, he might be able to do it off Selfie.
Yeah, but you see the power of Corki though. Even though that Q completely whiffs, he still evens out that trade though. So imagine if that fast bomb hits, Sencux is in a whole world of trouble. So Selfie playing the Ignite Corki here, ready for some action.
Oh, he was just checking the bush, guys. He didn't miss the Rift Scuttle.
So that's when you just keep walking. Hang on, trade here. Back to that action. If you do miss the Scuttle Crab, you act as if it was intended and you walk in the brush.
Exactly. You just got to make those on-the-fly adaptations to play it off. And Jankos takes away the Scuttle Crab, so it was all planned.
And this is really smart by Jankos. As long as he keeps Trashy busy and in vision, it enables H2K's bot lane to continue what they're doing, which is winning the trade war. Right now the CS is even, but eventually one of these parts will get out-sustained, and that's when the CS difference will start counting in, especially if Forgiven is pushing on a tower. Kobbe will continuously have to make the choice, do I go for the CS or for the counter trade? And we'll need to see how well Nisbeth and Kobbe can keep CSing together. So yeah, it's even right now, but it may tip very drastically later on because they will be running out of potions.
Mid lane is not going particularly well for Sencux in terms of CS. Currently 30 to 21 as the minion wave is basically even as well. Top lane, going head to head. We were talking about this in Champion Select and how Poppy will do. Feel like it would be a not too bad matchup as they start scaling up, but in the early laning phase, Odoamne is putting down the pressure. Yeah,
Odoamne has the push here. He doesn't have any risk of jungle. If Tahm Kench knows that the jungle is at the other side of the map, the entire matchup changes because he can just play stupid aggressive almost, you know, and doesn't really have to care about how much damage he takes and at what point he takes the risk of getting ganked. But at the later parts where Wunderwear actually can start comboing with that ulti, so we see another trade here, Charm, Q lands this time, even trade here in the mid lane. As we get to the later parts of that matchup, when Poppy actually has the combo tool available to buy a lot of time for the jungle to just walk to lane and finish that kill, that's when Odoamne will have to play it a little more careful.
Poppy is really nice for facilitating Graves in this game as well. Slam him against the wall, sets him up for end of the line, has the CC as well to keep him in place so that Trashy can also get into a nice position. Doesn't need to burn like a flash or something to get the extra damage off or get the positioning as Wunderwear can set him up. Jankos now coming into this lane.
I love it because this is kind of the only lane that Trashy can technically gank, so there is a possibility or a good chance that Trashy is actually trying to come in for the gank here, and then Odoamne could bait the counter gank, and it would be fantastic for H2K. Luckily, Trashy is actually invading the enemy jungle, leaving his Wunderwear top laner on an island. He finds a wall, doesn't find a camp. Unlucky.
Unfortunate. ×9 honor this champion. Jankos coming down into the river. Trashy is still taking on the Raptors. Got it this time.
Yep.
And got the Razor Sharp buff, so he knows it even if he's being spotted in the bottom side of the map.
He knows nobody saw that.
Yes, that's the important thing. Otherwise, he may not have smited. Selfie in the mid lane. There's the Valkyrie. That's Corki in the mid lane.
It's just to force the wave out, hopefully. That's what I would think, but Trashy's actually leaving.
Whoa.
Causing Binding Lance, and here you see the Thunderlord clock. But the return trade with the zoning tornado is actually big.
Kobbe just kind of dances back and forth, and Forgiven deals all the damage over to him, and the clutch shield at the end blocks the damage from Nisbeth.
And yeah, you just see the inexperience of this Splyce bot lane. They win the trade phase 1, but if you continue to trade against Lucian Janna with the threat of the tornado, bad things may happen, just like this gank could be bad for Forgiven.
Trashy's coming in, and we'll never know what happens because of the mid lane.
lane!
Whoa, Sencux could be going down. Repel comes up, finish him off. First blood over to Sencux.
And that's why we were in the mid lane, because the observers apparently know the future.
They knew.
They knew too much.
Man.
That was interesting.
Yeah, Jankos just kind of came in and then was like, yo, Sencux, you want to kill? He's like, yeah, bro, I'll take it. And then that was the gank, basically.
Yeah, with the amount of tunnel vision, you'd think he was playing Rek'Sai right there. Doesn't get to reset. Sencux says, thank you very much. I'll get more gold as I'm on my way to base. And gets the makings of an Abyssal into a very squishy Corki. So this may be big for the mid lane matchup.
Yeah, very big. And also, by extension, the game. Because Sencux is really the person who is going to bring it home for Splyce.
Let's watch that again.
Okay.
So Jankos.
What happened?
Jankos, okay. Sencux and Jankos, another combination. He repels in, but
Unfortunate.
Spellvamp from the Ahri passive keeps him alive long enough, and then he dies.
Yeah, dangerous game as well. Good mastery. Jankos should be able to take on the blue buff, maybe not Sencux, but that first kill going over has basically just kind of evened up the middle lane because Selfie got such a big CS advantage just from laning phase, and also when Sencux was pushed out of lane regardless of their gank, so it's actually fairly even up there.
Yeah,
you take a look at the goal, and H2K are still actually ahead.
Nisbeth needs to make sure he gets down to bottom lane, because Forgiven and Vander are not afraid to dive 1v2, especially since Trashy was spotted in the top lane. They moved a lot of members there, and Kobbe is following behind. He's on Tier and Sheen, so he has no defensive stats whatsoever.
Pushing down this turret, Kobbe, he's level 6, so yeah, he has the ultimate. Now. Yeah, and he's got both summoners available, so he's not too bad in shape. Jankos, no Cocoon this time. And now he'll head into the jungle of Trashy, who
he's waiting for
does happen to be there. He didn't smite.
Again,
he did. Okay.
He's isolating the bot lane by warding this deep Jankos. He doesn't care that they know the ward is there. He doesn't care that he's been spotting. He's just telling Trashy, hey, I'm here.
Wow, and
still
Trashy
here.
Just walks into it. I mean, he's fairly tanky at this stage, at least against one member, that being Jankos, so a bit of a die, but takes a bit of poke, and so does Sencux in the mid lane, more than a bit of poke, 60%.
Good trade there by Selfie, love it. Aggressive move there, and then the Valk out defensively. Trashy now, yeah, Jankos is just spotting him. Falls behind a little bit of inexperience. They just really don't want Trashy to interfere with that bot lane at all, it seems. Because Bard is level 6, so a Bard ultimate on Janna with Trashy over the wall can spell instant demise for H2K bot lane.
So the top laners fighting up there, but more interesting things as Jankos goes for another invade, and Sencux turn around and pick up the kill. He goes up into the air with Repel, but he has to come back down. And there's the Bard ultimate from across map. Does not get the kill onto Selfie, but a nice 1-0 over to Sencux.
Yeah, really good punish. No hesitation on Splyce there. Trashy knows that the charm should be long enough cooldown-wise to just take down that enemy jungler, and even if he lands, to land on like 10% HP, and then the follow-up bar ulti from Nisbeth. Really, really good. Well played there.
Yeah, actually went over to Trashy there in that trade, picked it up with an auto, I believe. 2-0 in this game, and Splyce have the early game advantage, but really this game will start heating up.
And that's just one of the many plays you can make with Bard. Fantastic champion. Yes. We haven't seen him sooner. Odoamne, however, in a trade.
Blood. And Wunderwear will probably walk out here. However, he's taking a lot of damage from Odoamne, who is getting the extra damage from his passive on the ultimate as well.
Stacks nerf.
Oh, lands the Q with a flash the auto. The Tahm Kench 1v1 kill onto Wunderwear.
You never flash straight against Tahm Kench. Just take an angle. Wunderwear.
Take a knee.
Take a knee. Anyway, do anything. Just don't flash straight. Really good play there by Odoamne. Wunderwear, again, overreaching in the matchup. Just not showing the ultimate knowledge. Tahm Kench probably matchup.
Yeah. Because generally you just don't think anything's really going to happen. You just kind of bash away at each other. But Selfie's looking to set up a play onto Trashy. He comes in, but he's in the jungle. This might be enough return damage, but Sencux gets zoned away. And that does not happen. 1-0. Nice pickoff by H2K.
Yeah, we're seeing some synergy being developed here between Jankos and Selfie overall. Lacking on the initial time where he dove, but this time working together with the package. On a Graves in the jungle, it's a bold move. But it did pay off this time. Forgiven finally takes down a tower, so we see a bit of a gold swing as a result of all that chip damage that H2K put down on the towers.
Selfie still staying in this lane, and this may be an oversight. Sencux is looking for this kill, has one more charge of the ultimate left, lands the Q, but a sidestep by Selfie. He's taking the damage from the Raptors. Jankos was there to finish off the Venom's bite, and he goes down, over eager, over greedy.
Jankos interferes with death by Raptors. Should just leave it, you know, mid laners 1v1, has to steal the kill. But yeah, really good move there by Selfie, juking upwards instead of the predicted path downwards.
Oh.
He calculated the damage too, and he knew that Graves could never kill him. He's definitely bringing his A game today.
Perfect calculation by Selfie in the mid lane. Trashy unable to get the execute off with his ultimate. Big cooldown down for him. And in a 1v1 trade against Jankos, that's pretty big. Now if he meets him in the jungle, he doesn't have the ability to kill him. We're going to see that once again here.
No charm so far. Goes over to the Raptors. Look at Selfie stepping upwards. Charm misses. This is, it's a misplay by Sencux. If you go for that play, you just got to land it. So outplay by Selfie. Well played.
Oh, Jankos, Vander, just chilling out in the jungle before they make their next play into the top lane. Perhaps Kobbe and Nisbeth have swapped up there with Forgiven already there, ready to receive the minion wave. Trashy is now coming in from the bot side, but looking for the recall. So ultimately, I don't think we're going to see anything here. It's
incredibly hard to force a play with the Bard ultimate right here. Landing that Tempered Fate on a Boots to Janna and a Lucian with his E available is just nearly impossible. So it's good from Vander to pick up the early Boots too, because it just allows you to maneuver outside of those ultimates, even if they're from close range.
Wunderwear in the middle lane. But there is a Tahm Kench there. He's going to clear away this pink ward as Sencux has his back. And now he'll back away. Top lane just kind of farming it on out. And in terms of item builds, actually Forgiven getting a lot of damage onto Nisbeth, even through the magical journey. And now the top lane siege comes in.
Yeah.
Forgiven currently sitting on his first completed item versus Kobbe, who is only on components.
Yeah, look what Forgiven does. He positions behind, hang on, he goes for trading, behind the outer range creep, and that triggers every bard to go for, you know, for the play where you want to Q the creep and then hit Forgiven, and then he sidesteps, because he knows the Q itself will never reach him, only the extended Q can, so that's the way you bait the bard Q's in lane, so he has experience with this matchup. Trashy comes over though, plays might happen.
Jankos looking for the execute onto Nisbeth. He'll be coming up, and there goes the heal, keeping him alive. Jankos will jump away to the minions and back away.
It was like a 3-man tempered fate possible there.
There was a possibility. Mid lane, though, Selfie with the tier 2 rockets coming in. And will be Sencux backing away very briefly. Top tower will go down over to Forgiven and co.
Imagine a world where Nisbeth turns around, gets a 3-man tempered fate into Cosmic Binding, into the Ezreal ulti. Could have been the play.
That's not this world, though. Maybe in some alternate universe. There's the ultimate.
Force to the flash.
Yeah.
Always work.
Right in the middle, through the goalposts. Kobbe jumping into the bush, cutting the vision. Godlike play. Mid lane, Sencux clearing out this one. Odoamne and Selfie's there, poking Sencux down, and he gets a slow with the tongue lick. And
you see the playstyle from H2K just happening week in, week out, where they put in these side lane pressures. They did it 1 week with the 1-3-1. Right now they're doing it kind of in a 3-2, and Wunderwear, he's kind of invisible this game, as he is many games. He's not putting any side lane pressure, prompting Odoamne to return. Grouping up with the Ahri doesn't provide enough counter push in the mid lane. Selfie can still poke 1v2 there, so Splyce needs Wunderwear to sit in the side lane, push it out, pressure that, force somebody to come down to the bot lane, then teleport in a flank to punish some of these aggressive pushes that H2K is doing, but it's not happening.
I mean, it makes sense, though, because Splyce do generally wonder where their top laner has gone. And that is the problem here. But H2K currently taking the Herald. Should be able to take that one down. It will be going over to Jankos.
Yeah, Jankos. More mobility in the jungle, combined with hopefully a boots upgrade as he goes to base, can just make him so quick that it kind of becomes unpredictable where he can get you with a cocoon. Because movement speed amplifiers or modifiers are just very hard to track for a lot of people. They just have this sense in the game where, you know, he's this far away. I don't think he can get me with cocoon. If he then suddenly has extra percentage movement speed, you may actually find yourself surprised.
Yeah,
so I like it on junglers.
Yeah, Herald is, I believe, 40 extra movement speed flat, which is actually a lot, so difficult to track. Dragon as well, if they get the third dragon, then they'll get 5% extra movement speed on top of that.
I'm sure Kobbe will be happy with the Herald for junglers campaign that he was campaigning about last week in North American LCS. I'll continue it here. Although Unicorns did prove that Herald on AD carry, also a very valid option.
Yeah, I actually seeing that a lot, actually, going over to AD carry, or even the split pusher. Herald has definitely found its mark.
Look at the poke here, the double AD composition with the Janna, sieging in the mid lane, forcing the double wave clear from the double AD carry on Splyce's. Yeah. Guess what, guys, we're in AD carry meta. But yeah, just the calling to come out, amplify with the shield for damage, Selfie poking, complete control of H2K. The Splyce, they need to find an opening, and the only opening they will find is either Charm Flash or teleport from Wunderwear.
Jankos going for the Runic Echoes as well. Looks like he's going for the Rylai's on top of that, which we saw earlier. I really don't think... Ooh, damage onto Kobbe. That was just from the Gatling gun and the Thunderlord's proc. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, one auto-empowered, or Triforce-empowered auto with Gatling gun. Plus Thunderlords is just so much burst overall. This is why Corki is one of the stronger laners. Nisbeth, he wants some gold. He's waiting for his Spooky Ghosts, so then he can hopefully enable the Spooky Ghost combo with the Tempered Fate. That's really what you want to go for, but by that time, H2K may have taken down all the turrets.
Okay, well, we'll see if a Tempered Fate just comes through very shortly from Nisbeth. There it is, boys! But the tower's dead. And Nisbeth did land the Q onto Vander, and now Wunderwear is closing in for a potential fight. The knockup on the 3 players. Trashy with the follow-up. Is it enough? He has been exhausted, reducing that damage. Odoamne saves the Janna, and Vander is out and alive. Wunderwear goes down, and Odoamne may follow as Sencux is coming in from the sidelines. He still has the flash. The Charm land. Reverse swing of Orb of Deception will take him down. And that's a 1-for-1 top lane is exchanged.
Yeah, but look in the top lane though, Forgiven just melting that tower. 4v5 does not go for a win here for Splyce. Good opening, good flank, and just too late from Wunderwear. But we see the power in a flying Poppy, and again, using that ultimate as a combo tool. Trashy, unfortunately, dashes in so close to the Janna that he actually gets exhausted. If he would have stayed out of exhaust range, his ultimate would have finished off Vander, and that could have been a whole different fight here for Splyce.
But still, that 4v5 essentially is Forgiven was in the top lane. Did not predict the top lane Lucian in this game either from Splyce.
Looks like they forgot about Grey.
Yeah, mid lane we're gonna see that trade again with the bot ultimate coming in to set it up.
Yeah, no stun here. Doesn't get the connect. So Vander, look at Wunderwear what he does. Dash, uses Jankos as a vessel for 3-man, and then Trashy dashes in to get exhausted and launches back with the ultimate. So Wunderwear drops. Vander gets a shield on him when he's low. Sencux is only now just joining the fight, so a little bit too late to the party. And Forgiven, yeah, just pushes down top lane.
And back into the mid lane. Sencux has picked up the Morella Nomicon, which has had price reduction in the current patch, 6-2. On top of his Abyssal Scepter. Mid lane, Selfie, business as usual, 2-0-1. Definitely been more proactive and has been able to do things by himself this game. And I kind of like H2K giving him the freedom to go into a pick who can do that versus the other picks he had, which were fulfilling roles within the team.
I mean, I'm only speculating here because I obviously don't have the insight in the inner workings of H2K, but Corki was available for Selfie last week too at points. He just didn't opt for it, so I think Selfie just picked up the champion. Remember, he came out of solo queue. Not everybody plays every champion in solo queue. He must have practiced it in scrims this week, and he looks pretty confident on it. Not afraid to go aggressively and then use Valkyrie as a defensive tool, so yeah. Well, some of the problems that H2K had with Selfie have seemed to be disappeared because their side lane pressure is on point. They are continuously putting advantage. They're not getting caught too much by any wards snuck in their backline. See, Splyce isn't the greatest team at punishing that, but pretty clean and crisp game from H2K.
Now you have this 3-1-1, and the 3 is going to go for this engage onto Splyce. The repel comes up, and Jankos should be away here. Teleport now coming in. This is a little late, but it will secure them the tower. In fact, he cancels it, and it was not really worth and gets the cooldown from that. Selfie coming into the mid lane, and there is only 2 inner turrets now remaining for Splyce to try and defend. To close in the mid lane, maybe Sencux lands a stray charm, but that's what they're looking for at the moment.
I mean, we're looking at 6,000 gold here at 20 minutes. That is massive. That is the rate where Elements on average is down in their losses. This is a very large gold gap, and the only way to beat that right now for Splyce is just to go for an all-in type of play. But they lost the crucial part of that, the Temper Fate for the setup. Wunderwear doesn't have the lane push, so he clears one wave and then opts to come down. If you're gonna go for that push, you should just go for the second wave push. At least put some pressure on the map so you can at least get something out of that play. But Splyce just playing from behind.
And I'm not sure if they can do all that much from behind because they got those 2 kills onto Sencux, but ultimately it's just not enough. A Selfie is even matching him and also ahead in terms of CS. So he's even ahead in terms of gold. And you can't 1v5 right here with Sencux on Ahri. I say that now, but we saw him on the block actually 1v5 last week.
He did get ahead and snowball.
He did.
He got donated a quarter kill too, but the good adaptation from Splyce though is that they went for the quadruple blue trinket and only 1 sweeper. It is the right approach, especially a team that is running 2 blue trinkets themselves. You don't need double sweeper if all you need to do is stay in the game. They have finished Spooky Ghost, so what they can do is lure in H2K to come close to the base, use the Spookies, slow the 2 people in the front line, go for the Temper Fate setup, flank with Wunderwear, and try and just go for a collapse. That is the play Splyce is looking for. H2K on the other hand, they want deep vision, they want vision denial around the Baron pit, they want to exploit the blue trinkets. And when all 4 are down and on cooldown, then they eventually want to start the Baron.
Right now we're hitting a very stale part of the game while Baron has spawned and Splyce are trying to pressure out in the mid lane, but I have a bad feeling about this one. Trashy jumping over the wall, has to use the flash. Sencux dodges out of the way of the cocoon. Nisbeth now coming in and Wunderwear looking for a potential re-engage. I'm not sure if this is the best plan though. Goes right into Odoamne. He will get the stacks from into the team and he'll just go down. Now it's just a disengage from Splyce. That was very bizarre. And Trashy also caught up. Sencux just takes a ward out. So I guess there's some gold going over to him, but a 2-0.
I mean, if that was Rudy with Poppy jungle today, maybe I could have seen it. But yeah, that was straight out of solo queue. There was 0 communication. Wunderwear's like, whoa. Selfie gets caught. Charm flash here. Selfie should be dead.
Yeah.
So Selfie overextends when his team's at Baron. Communication issues. He's trying to peel. And Splyce should be able to stop this, even though their top laner went full Leroy Jenkins.
I don't know what their chances are of getting this engage off. I calculate 33.3% here, Krepo.
Cheating, of course.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to work. The 66% one in this one, and H2K come away with Baron.
Just sloppy mistake there from Selfie from dying, but honestly still a good play from H2K. Splyce too low, and we have to wonder what Wunderwear was thinking, or whether that was a team call or what's going on. But for a team that communicates exclusively in Danish, their native tongue, that was a major communication issue.
That was just weird. I mean, Wunderwear, like last split in spring, he had some issues where he would just teleport in and just completely away from the rest of the team and just die. But we haven't seen anything like that, and we saw such a good improvement from Splyce, who were formerly Dignitasi U, over the summer split, and now coming into LCS. It seems like they're reverted hard.
I mean, H2K is playing a composition that kind of triggers that type of play, because they're so good at kiting, disengaging, that at one point you just snap and you're like, I'm going in, boys, I'll get the CC. But then, if you're even, that could be a good play, because these compositions that have that much disengage, that have that much kite, usually don't work that well in straight up burst team fights. But H2K is now 9,000 gold in the lead. They don't care how you approach the fight. If you fight them, you'll likely die.
Well, at the very least, Splyce did manage to get that one pick. That was a tilt level binding, by the way, because he flashed, and because it was aimed at the wall and tagged him before he flashed, it actually stunned him.
Yeah, because that's the way BarQ works. It doesn't care what you do after you've been hit. You can flash, you can teleport, you can get it off, you probably counter time. But once it connects with the wall, that's when the game registers that there's been 2 people hit or 2 instances hit, and it connects both those places. That's why the wall then connects to the flash. It looks like a bug, you know, everybody goes remake, 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 but it's actually completely intended.
It's just extremely, extremely annoying when it happens to you, but it was great as the bard player, as I'm sure you can attest. Bot tower being sieged in. All of the inners are now gone. Just have to crack that shell, which is the inhibitor line. But they are keeping that cannon minion alive. I would love to see a banner of command here. Yeah,
this will be almost a forced engage here. Look at the spooky tempered fate combo they're looking for, but H2K respects Splyce enough to not take another 45. They wait for Odoamne with 2 cannon creeps at his side. Push in. Right now they spot the Poppy in the top lane, so one of the follow-up engages is out of the equation, so they can comfortably get closer to siege. They just mine the corner, just like you mine the gap, and they want to whip away at that tower.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't trip, and Odoamne onto this inhibitor. No one is stopping him, so it looks like Splyce are gearing up for a potential engage.
Here we go.
This has already been read out by H2K, who are kiting back. The temper fate comes onto Jankos, he'll flash away. It's fine burning summoners here, but Wunderwear has to go deep to make this happen. Abyssal Voyage comes in, and nothing has really been accomplished before the closing comes from H2K, and they took the inhibitor as well. They got their cake, and they ate it too.
Yeah, H2K completely reads Splyce like a book. That play was rather obvious, but it was the only play Splyce could make, so maybe with 100% execution, they could get something out of it. Jankos gets hit, he respect flashes immediately. Odoamne comes in with the Abyssal Voyage, and at that point, it's too little, too late. H2K sieging their second inhibitor.
That front line is just too damn tanky for Splyce to deal with. And now they'll just back away, and it's just taking inhibitor after inhibitor. Now the mid lane's tower is being under attack. Sencux can't clear out the minion wave, he tries to, but Odoamne is there to tank up the tower. 1 minion wave was still alive, or rather 1 minion. And that hero was able to take down the tower with the rest of the team. Trashy drops low. He'll have to flash and burn all of his summoners, use the ultimate defensively for the knockback. And now H2K backs off with an incredible amount of gold in their pocket.
About 2k on average, so H2K is sitting on about 9 or 10,000 gold right now. It's actually pretty absurd. And they're all basing. And they didn't even need it to force that advantage. So they're actually operating under only a 10 or 11,000 gold lead. But right now, yeah, they're just using even more. Actually, we're operating on a 3 or 4,000 gold lead. Yeah. Right now it's getting even bigger. 13k lead. Baron power play, 4.5k average, but what the only reason this Baron power play is so low is because all the tier 2 towers were already gone.
Yep. And
the base towers don't net as much gold overall, but they took down 2 inhibitors, which doesn't reflect in the gold, but it just wins you the game.
Yeah, winning the game kind of good. Also gives you another 50 gold.
It's like the equivalent of being a KDA player or just out-rotating, you know? Sometimes you don't need to get the fancy big numbers to win the game.
Well, Nisbeth hasn't even died in this game. In fact, no one in both bot lanes has died this game, but it doesn't matter how many times the bard chimes in, he just can't get enough done. And Sencux is just trying to clear out the top wave, but this is now tower defense for Splyce. Now they're going to go for the engage. It's going to land on Forgiven. Can they punish him though? He doesn't have summoners. This could be big, but he's just eaten up by Tahm. Kench is just too strong. The ultimate goes right through the team of H2K in from Wunderwear. Keeper's verdict does not find his mark. Jankos gets stunned up, but just delaying the inevitable. Minions are flooding in from the side lanes, and H2K is coming in from the front door. I don't think that there's anything that Splyce can do to stop this from happening.
Conga line in the top lane, Conga line in the bot lane, siege creeps ever, Sencux flashes in.
And Splyce are stuck in the middle with H2K. Wunderwear should be going down here, but they did manage to take down the enemy support, but a 1-for-1 make that a 2-for-1, and now the Nexus turrets go down. H2K systematically pick apart Splyce and take down the Nexus.
Yeah, slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady kills the race overall. H2K, yep. Yeah, play another H2K type of game where they just focus on the side lane pressure. But this time, Selfie doesn't die in the mid lane. He exerts even more pressure. They chip away the towers. Splyce continuously on the back foot. And we have to beg the question, Wunderwear and his side lane pressure with that Poppy. It just wasn't there. If he's not pushing any of those side lanes out and putting any pressure, H2K get free reign to play the game on 2 lanes. Putting Vander next to Forgiven or Selfie, keeping him alive. Odoamne again in a supportive role, this time on Tahm Kench. Just, yeah, Abyssal Voyage in, flank, saving people with Devour. Another really, really just solid performance. There are a couple of members in H2K that you can always count on to deliver. Usually Jankos is amongst them. He did have that little slip up in the mid lane, but if you have like the rocks in like Jankos, Odo, and Vander, and you then leave room for playmakers like Forgiven, like Ryu, now replaced by Selfie, you have a very potent squad.
And even coming together, okay, this is against one of the lower teams in the rankings, but still looking very good in this game, just as a team. And Yamalo there just talking to the squad, still in high spirits, Wunderwear, despite that performance, but yeah. Like, even in the 1v1, seeing him get 1v1 by Tahm Kench.
Yeah, that is something Ahri tweeted about earlier as well, you know. There's nothing wrong with having a smile on stage after you lost.
That's good.
Out of my own experience, and many other players, it literally doesn't matter if you're crying on stage or like because you lost, because all that matters is how you do in the next week. We see a little bit of a, yeah, just friendship here still between Yamato and former members there from Rockat. It's always smiles when you beat him, you know? Yamato should be the guy you walk away. No, but he's not like that. But yeah, definitely, I like it when players keep their spirits up because there's no point in being depressed. You know, obviously you need to take losses seriously. You need to work hard, but that work should be happening behind the scenes. Sure. And you should never be judged upon your reaction after a game. So Ahri, I'm with you. If you're smiling after a loss, definitely keep doing so.
Yeah, there's always more games to go. I mean, this is even day 1 of this week as well, so there's even...
yeah, there's no point in getting depressed. Just look for day 2, you know, and try and fix that.
Oh, I can see your signature on there already.
Yeah, we have fan meets here at the LCS. If you visit the Berlin studio, you get to meet people like me, but you also get to meet Pulse.
Yeah, which devalues whatever you give me, so... yeah, that's unfortunate. But no, good performance.